Running Sentences presents Work, Work, and More Work. Part 10. Collapse. Things are falling apart quickly and on to everyone. And it seems that everyone is out for themselves instead of helping out, because why would they? This story is a work of fiction, so any businesses, characters, events, and situations within this story are products of the author's imagination. Any resemblance to real people, situations, characters, businesses, events, and/or fictional businesses, characters, events, and so on is purely coincidental. Copyright 2025, Michael Hunnery. All rights reserved. Lindsay spotted Jess standing near the elevators along with Bruno. They were just standing there in the lobby, making her suspect that something was up this morning. Jess definitely had an annoyed look on his face as she came up to them. What's going on? Is there something going on, right? Otherwise, why would you two be standing around here? The three new workers aren't here to help in any way, shape, or form, from what I've learned. They're dividing up the assets and picking the bones clean for the higher-ups, Jess announced bitterly. This isn't what you wouldn't tell me until Lindsay was here, Jess? Well, I figured it was best to both tell you at the same time, easier anyway, and we can talk here without those three disturbing us if they're still in the meeting room in the first place. Isn't this all just pointless to show up then, Jess? Yes, but we don't really have much of a choice unless you're quitting. Then you can merely walk away. I figured you'd want to know for when you dealt with these people, though. It's not exactly helpful, Jess. Why couldn't you have just told us last night? Well, I don't have your phone numbers and it's beyond working hours. No one wants to be bothered after hours about work, do they? No, not really. Can we go up to our little office now? I wasn't stopping you from going in the first place. She rolled her eyes and went over to the nearby elevator that had just opened its doors. The three bustled and hustled their way into the meeting room, expecting the worst when they came in. The other three, the new employees, who were contractors, were nowhere to be seen, though. Right, no one else around, so it's time to get back to work, then. Okay, what work would you have us do, Bruno? What work can we do when we haven't done much in the previous few days? He does have a point, Bruno. We have nothing to do but wait and see if anything comes of my ideas and, if what Jess says is the truth. There's nothing left to do aside from quit or be fired, you two. Jess said this as he'd gone over and sat down on his usual chair, throwing his hands up in frustration. We do something to keep busy. Doing nothing just leaves us sitting around doing nothing, which is boring and nobody wants that. Such wise words from our leader. So, again, I repeat, what would you like us to do, boss? How can we serve you today? Well, go find out what you can from the other departments about how they want to improve things. That was Lindsay's idea. It's a good enough one. If they still exist, you two. Yes. Just go and do it. Lindsay had hurried off from the meeting room and went down the stairs to the basement area where the janitor's office space was. She could tell she was getting close by the sense that suddenly wafted through the hallways, growing stronger with each step until she found the place. It was a very bleachy but lemony scent, and upon entering she found a very clean and bleached space that had nary a dirty spot around it. There was a person sitting at a desk right by the door, looked up when she entered. Well, what mess needs to be cleaned up now? No, I came to see the boss of this department. I'm Lindsay, who was looking into the morale of the company. Oh, you. Yes, me, sir. Is there a problem? You started an argument among my staff about the right way to do things. She glanced about the empty space that, oddly enough, had desks with name placards for each of the janitors on them. It seemed a bit silly for them to have desks and all that, but at the same time, probably quite nice, wasn't it? So where are your workers? What do you mean, where are? My janitors work hard to keep this place clean, and they got called to do a big cleanup job. That sounded weird to her, but not knowing how much things got cleaned around here, she let it pass. Well, I was wondering if you had figured out what your employees and what the executives or the higher up janitors wanted to do to improve morale? There's no improving it. We argued up and down the last couple of days, and people all wanted different things. She glanced towards the name placard on his desk. But, Gerald, wasn't there a bunch of similar things on each list that you came up with? I think at least some commonalities? You'd think so, but no. Everyone wants something slightly different from what everyone else wants. They had similar things they wanted, but those were always tweaked in ways that they would like instead of the other person would like. So you have no report from me then? Nope. You can go away now if you don't have a mess to fix up. She took a step back towards the door, but paused for a moment, curiosity getting the better of her. That cleanup project? Top floor. They're doing a renovation of some sort, taking everything out, and it needs to be cleaned up. Oh, I see. Thank you for your information. That's very clarifying. What you mean? I don't think they're cleaning up the renovations, but getting out of here before things go up on them. That's just the feeling I have. He looked at her gravely, but says nothing as she exits the office. Pearl had come back to the meeting room, much to Jess's disappointment. He really didn't want to talk to her about anything, and she was now sitting across from him, studying a piece of paper in front of her. I still have some questions for you, Mr. Jess. I still have no answers for you, Miss Pearl. Why do you even need answers? Aren't you just shutting this place down? Bruno had been back at his whiteboard, not far away, turned upon hearing this. Are you shutting this place down? That is not our job. No, Bruno. No, Jess. So what are you doing then? You said you wanted this. Jess started to say. No, we did not. You are putting words in my mouth. The door opened and in came an exhausted-looking Lindsay. She found her seat and plopped into it, not caring about them. After a moment of everyone staring at her, she turned to them. Is something wrong? Lindsay eventually asked. No, you look like you've seen a lot, though. Yeah, I went about trying to get those reports I asked for, Jess. Every department told me they were too busy or that something was going on. What were they busy doing, Lindsay? Cleaning up. Entire departments are cleaning up their space. You still had employees to talk to, though, to give you that information. Jess looked at Pearl, annoyed at her interruption of Lindsay's talk about things. To him, it certainly sounded like everything was now being shut down, and Lindsay was also shaking her head now. There were so very few employees left, aside from the janitors, Miss Pearl. And what were they told? These janitors, or whoever is left? And a redesign of the office is happening. Everything needed to be taken out so that they could redo everything. A secret way of getting out while no one notices. That would be my guess, yes, Jess. Did you go up all the way to the executive's office? Nope, they were cut off and I think cleaned out completely. Last night. But I didn't see or hear anything as I was leaving last night, Jess added. This is preposterous. Why would the company hire us if they were just going to close up shop? Any number of reasons, Miss Pearl, to make themselves look good as things fall down around them. That's just one potential idea. They wouldn't do anything without telling people, or at least telling the executives, though. Bruno said this with little hope in his voice, but Jess just shook his head now. If that was the case, then communication would be much clearer throughout the company. What we've got is a lot of quiet operations of things simply going day to day, Jess said. I think I have a proposal to solve this, Lindsay chimed in. Visit the CEO, Miss Lindsay? Yes, Miss Pearl, we go to see what the execs have to say, even though that part of the office seems to be closed off to us. I assume you mean the elevators are closed off? There's always the stairs. As Jess said this, the group shared a look with one another. To Jess, it really was between him, Bruno, and Lindsay, since Pearl didn't matter. But if she came along, that was fine too, as long as they found out what was going on. He rose from his seat and pointed towards the door, as well as walking towards it. Eventually, the others began to follow. The four went up several flights of stairs until they arrived at the top floor. Up here, things looked untouched and still in place, with the secretary at the desk, and all of her stuff where it should be. This secretary did look up upon seeing the group come in and frown at them. How did you get up here? The stairs. Oh, I guess we could not close off everything all the way up here in case of an emergency. That sucks. Oh, what do you all want, by the way? To see Miss Barley? What else would we want? And please make it quick. We don't want to be here longer than we have to be, Jess added. It's a simple few questions that will solve if we have to be around here anymore. The faster you move and get her to talk to us, the sooner we vanish out of your way, Lindsay said. I'll see what I can do, ladies and gentlemen. Secretary rose from her seat and hurried off into the CEO's office. They looked about the space some more while they waited, which was nice and clean and very office-like. Are you sure about this, Lindsay? Why would you suddenly begin to doubt me now, Bruno? I know what I saw. And besides, the secretary confirmed that this space was closed off to workers. Doesn't that seem weird to you, Bruno? Yeah, but I just want to feel safer about all of this. Not sure what you mean by that. I don't think safer exists in this environment anymore, Jess said. I meant that I want to be sure of this and what's going on. How have any of you survived working in an office building? It's like watching three birds fight over a pebble while running into a high-rise window. I take offense to that. I am no bird, Miss Pearl. The three of you certainly act like it, Miss Lindsay. Before Lindsay could get any more worked up, the door to the office opened and out came the secretary. She only has a few minutes to spare. Make it quick. Shuffling into the room, they came into the office. That wasn't in the usual state they were used to. It had actually been cleaned up, with lots of things looking like they were missing, plus whatever personality and homeless that had been there were now gone. Now, what do you... Three? What are you doing, Miss Pearl? What are you doing with them? I heard some rumors, and they were coming up here to see if they were true. I felt it was my duty to make sure the information wasn't right, and that it didn't affect my workers. We figured that the company is closing up shop. And how did you come to that impression, Mr. Bruno? Do you have some sort of evidence of that happening? Lindsay told me. Yes, Lindsay glared over at Bruno for his sudden betrayal. The departments are all claiming to be cleaning up for a remodel. Miss Barley gave them a hard look and shook her head no. Well, that is what's happening, a remodel. Yeah, that sounds nice and all, but you did say the company was in a money problem the other day. So where's this money coming from for this project and for these new workers? I do not have to tell you that, Mr. Jess. It is none of your business how we are operating. But it is. My contract says that I should be kept in the loop on things and events that are changing the company, or did you forget that? Fine, you are duly informed that there is a remodel going on within the office. Every worker is being given a week off while this work commences. The three who worked on the project looked to one another, not really buying what the CEO was trying to sell them. Are you going to bring back the workers after, or is they suddenly a mysterious extended week off keeps extending and until suddenly everything shuts down? That would be illegal, and we do not plan on doing that, Miss Lindsay. Our plans are simple and on our website. Should you have any other questions about this matter, please feel free to use that contact form on the website. Good day. Wait a second. You hired a group to help morale at this company, and then decided to do a remodel? Lindsay persisted. The board decided to hire that little group after your department failed to do its job quickly enough. It's not my fault that the two projects of improvement collided at an inopportune time. No. What happens to our team then, and to the other team? We have no people to talk to or objectives to improve, since everything is shut down. Yes, what Jess said. What are we going to do now? Are you firing us or just returning us to our original work? What's even going on anymore? How can we return to our original work? Bruno questioned. Report back to your office until something has been decided for you. It should not take long. Leveling a glare at Barley, Lindsay looked annoyed and frustrated. I thought that was all that they were going to get. The CEO seemed to have nothing further to say to them, and even pointed towards the door to leave. Which office and which department? Since one of those doesn't exist anymore for my work while this remodel happens. The meeting room, Lindsay. Go do your work that I've assigned you. And what of my group? Miss Pearl, you and your team may work from home. You'll be provided with contact details for the groups you need to talk to. And why aren't we getting that option? Simple, Mr. Jess. You've done nothing to deserve it, and have been a disappointment through and through. Therefore, you get no reward for your work. In fact, you've caused nothing but problems for me. That's not my fault. Yes, it is. But it doesn't matter. Just leave. The group slowly shuffles its way out of there. Pearl had been quick to get her workers and clear out of the meeting room and out of the office building entirely, to which Bruno didn't blame her. His little group had gone back to the meeting room and sat in their chairs, waiting for anything to come to them. There was no work to be done and no one to talk to, aside from themselves, and right now he wasn't in the mood to talk to either of those two. Listening to Lindsay and Jess Becker, though, that he could sort of stand. We should report this. Who would listen to us, Lindsay? Anyone. The news, the city government. Someone has to care about this sort of thing. Trust me when I say they will pretend to care for a while. That is, until the bosses pay them off and they decide to look the other way. And before you say that can't happen, that's what the fine they get for doing whatever they're doing is all about. Paying off and making the people go away. You can't really think that. Why not, Lindsay? That's all companies ever have to do. Pay their fines even if they're closing up shop and the government looks the other way. That seems very unfair to the rest of us. No one cares about fair. I do. The conversation felt like it was going in circles, so Bruno began to stop listening to it. Nothing to be gained or lost as he turned to their whiteboard and its contents. The ideas were still on there, written and ready to be erased. Though it felt like they should be recorded and kept around just in case they were ever needed again. His mind told him that it was doubtful and that would happen, and people would probably just wind up doing the same work down the road for some other company. A knock on the door brought an end to whatever was conversation and thoughts were going on as the janitor stepped in. You lot headed out for the night? I need to do some cleaning here. You're just cleaning, not renovating in here? I heard everywhere else was being renovated or something like that, Mr. Janitor. Cleared out so it can be renovated, yes. This space, no. It's just being treated as a normal space. It just needs to be cleaned up. Well, that's very weird, Jess offered upon hearing this. Not to me, sir. I mean, it means I just have one spot to clean up and then I can go home for the night. So if you lot don't mind. Jess shook his head, looking rather confused at the whole situation. Are only the janitors left here, then? Lindsay asked. Lindsay asked this, as the janitor shook his head yes. Most people got off early and never came in, according to the emails I got. And well, we cleaned up most of the offices. So the rest of us got off early. Did it fast and quick. There's basically no one left here? Jess's question hung in the air for a moment as the janitor thought about it. Probably security is still here. I don't know about them, though. So basically it's just you right now? Jess asked. And you lot. But you should leave. I think they're locking up the front doors soon. Sharing a look between one another, they slowly rose and departed the meeting room. The harsh echo of Jess's steps bounced about the lobby the next morning. It was eerily quiet, and there appeared to be no one else around aside from Bruno, who stood at a security area. He approached him as Bruno turned to him. So what's going on? No one is here. No security, no nothing. You can't just go to the elevators? There is a security gate that does not appear to be working. Bruno pointed towards the turnstile that stood waist high and looked actually brand new. Jess looked at it for a moment, trying to decide if jumping over it was a bad idea or not. You could just go over it, Jess pointed out. No, I don't think that would be very welcomed. No security to stop you, though, and you have to report to work, so what you gonna do? Stand around here all day until someone else shows up? Hey, fools, what are you doing? Lindsay approached with a wave of her hand, but her steps were oddly quiet. Bruno has been stopped by security. I don't see them. Neither does he, but that's why he's stopped. I'd rather not get in trouble, you two. I feel like with the way everything here is falling apart around us, getting in trouble is the least of our troubles. I won't have it. I won't do it. Bored of this, Jess approaches the security turnstile and pushes it. The thing doesn't budge an inch, nor does anything else happen. A slight disappointment, since he kind of wanted some sort of alarm to go off, to make things more interesting. Security, we want to enter the building. Come on, people go to work and all of that. It took a minute before someone emerged from the back room jingling a set of keys and taking their time to get anywhere. Oh, the three are here, are they? We've been here for more than a few minutes. Where have you been? Taking care of business. Took a long time to get things done, but you don't care about any of that. No, you want to get to work, and I'm here to escort you there. This man, or guard, or whatever his job was, led them up the flight of stairs, one floor, into a meeting room that wasn't their meeting room office space. There, two men sat, looking over some files, and without looking up, the two men, almost in unison, signaled for them to sit, as the one who brought them there left. What is this? What is going on? This, sir, is an inquiry, the man who was closest to them said. You've been accused of wasting company funds, the second one said. We simply did our jobs with no funds to do it. I can't see how you can complain about that. Well, actually I can, since it feels like this is now a setup for us to be the fall men, Jess offered. Who is accusing us of spending funds we don't have? Lindsay inquired. That would be Miss Burley. If you have any complaints about her, you can make them to us, and we will take them into consideration, the first one said. The trio looked to one another slowly. One by one, they sat down at the appointed chairs. We are innocent of all charges. Yeah, you would claim that, wouldn't you? Yes, they would, Mr. Ort. Our names are, by the way, Jacob and Ort. You won't need to remember them, but just so you have some reference of who you're talking to. Do you three agree that you have been a part of a project to improve morale for the company? The one called Ort asked. Yes, we had no choice in the matter. We were assigned to it, Lindsay said. So you are getting back to the company by overspending it? What? No, Mr. Jacob. We didn't spend any money at all except for employee pay. We were paid for our work and we used company resources, but we didn't do anything other than that, Lindsay said, her voice etched in frustration. So why don't we believe you? I don't know, Mr. Ort. That's on you. Do either of you have anything to say on this matter? Bruno and Jess looked at one another and shook their heads no. No defense of yourselves against these accusations? Ort asked. This is all predetermined, so no. Do whatever you will, Jess said with a shrug. Are we fired or not? That's where this is going, right? Bruno asked. No, there's still a chance to prove your innocence. And how would we do that, Mr. Jacob? Tell us all about this matter. Jess grimaced at Ort's words and at them, and shook his head no. Lindsay told you all there is to say. You've chosen not to listen to her. So, what else is there even to say, gentlemen? Explain what the project was to us and its concepts, Ort demanded. Well, we had several concepts that we were pursuing. Most were shot down by Miss Barley herself, Bruno said. Because of money, I assume, Bruno? Yes, they said they didn't have the money to implement Jess's plans or Lindsay's plans. And what exactly were those plans, Bruno? Ort asked. We were to give hope to workers by giving them what they needed to get their jobs done, Jess answered for Bruno. My plan was very, very similar. And what was that, Miss Lindsay? Jacob asked as he looked over towards her. To talk to teams throughout the office and see what they needed to make things better. And how was that received by the higher-ups? Well, it really wasn't. We merely went ahead and talked to the departments to see what lists they could make and requests. It never got very far. And why was that? No one could agree on a list of requests for improving their departments, Mr. Jacob. So you've achieved nothing in all of this. They have produced a lot. Nothing despite their quest to do so, Mr. Ort. I think we can all see where this is going. Yes, Mr. Jacob. Failures, the lot of them. They wildly spent money and did nothing with it. Wasting resources. I concur, Mr. Ort. So are we getting fired or not? Our report will be filed shortly with the higher-ups, Mr. Jess, unless you have something more to say. No, our position has not changed. You're the fools, though, for listening to the higher-ups and doing their dirty work. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Bruno? That you're fools for listening to them. Did you not hear me? Bruno said. We heard you, but we wanted to make sure we got all of the facts. This will also go in our report, Ort replied as he nodded along, writing things down. Great. How long is this report going to take? Can we find other jobs and whatnot, or is this just being dragged out? The two workers looked over to Jess, their gaze dull, dead, and seemingly lifeless. It will take us a while to compose our findings into a report. It could take up to 3 months for these things to fully finish. This company might not even be around in 3 months. Hell, I don't think it's going to be around in a week in this state. Miss Lindsay is right, you know. I hope you got paid in advance for whatever work this is. Your conversations will also be noted in our reports, Jacob said. None of this looks good for you and any future employees you may have, because this report will go on your records. Jacob continued on with a smirk, even though his face was still dead and lifeless. Bar for the course, which won't stop anyone from hiring us. You keep thinking that, Mr. Jess, and you will see, Mr. Ort said. And if we manage to get new jobs before that report comes out, what will you do then? Bruno questioned and pointed it out. You're not allowed to do that, Jacob said in response as Lindsay rolled her eyes. Jess shook his head no, and Bruno offered a sigh. The three then looked at one another and then to the door. Well, it's been fun. It's not been very fun here, but I guess this ends here. Goodbye, Bruno announced, trying to one-up these gentlemen. I already have several options lined up, and I've been working hard to get a new job, Lindsay said with a shrug. And I get a long-awaited and needed vacation. Do your worst, gentlemen, and have fun with that. This is most extraordinary and troubling, Jacob said, shaking his head no. The worst people who have wasted company do not care. We should report them, Mr. Jacob. To the cops. To everyone. They will not get away with this crime, Mr. Jacob. Agreed, Mr. Ort. They will get the report. The world will get this report as soon as it is ready, Jacob said with a nod to Ort. There will be hell to pay once it comes out. The two workers were too busy denouncing the trio to notice that they had already left. The end of Part 10, and the end of Work, Work, and More Work. Thank you for listening.